I-16 in Twiggs County near Macon. The tip also led them to arrest Derry Bonaventure Flores and Hallie Carlin. Both are now facing numerous charges, including murder. Munzer says the pair met Smith through another friend.
The three of them met at the hotel. They left later that night in a vehicle. Somehow they got into a dispute, which led to Elijah being shot and killed.
I think it's terrible. It seems like a nice area. I wish that didn't happen to him. I'm praying for his family.
According to the incident report, the argument got so heated that Smith was kicked out of the car. That was according to Carlin, but police believe, in fact, he was shot and his body taken all the way to Twiggs County. More about what happened in that car and what happened when we went to one of the suspects' neighborhoods coming up on Channel 2 Action News at 5. Live in Alpharetta, Mike Pachenik, Channel 2 Action News.
Our thoughts and prayers are definitely with that family. Mike, thank you.
New at 4, agents say a man who just moved to a quiet Cobb County neighborhood didn't just bring in his furniture. He also moved in a large drug operation. Channel 2's Ross Cavett is live in Marietta with how drug agents 3 time zones away sparked this big investigation. Ross?
Shipments come into this depot near the Dobbins Air Reserve Base pretty much from all parts of the country. One man thought that he was going to get a delivery of hundreds of pounds of marijuana here, not knowing it had been intercepted hundreds of miles away. And hours after that, police were in his neighborhood.
I had no reason to suspect anything, you know. A friendly guy. He wasn't. No outlandish behavior, quiet.
Graham Knight says the new renter of the home on Zachary Woods seemed nice enough, a perception that ended when a large group of law enforcement showed up a few days ago.
Mainly plainclothes officers. It was about 6 cars, and then one Cobb County SUV pulled up, and there was 2 guys in SWAT uniforms. And we just saw them going in the house.
The renter, Patrick Ross, was not with them. Police had earlier arrested Ross at this Marietta shipping depot where he'd come to claim a package he thought was full of more than 200 pounds of marijuana. Drug agents had intercepted that shipment of marijuana in a town east of San Francisco, sent the box on its way without it, and Cobb drug agents watched as Ross picked it up in town. The arrest warrant says Ross admitted he ordered the shipment and that he orders marijuana in large quantities and then distributes it to other parties. At his house, agents found another 8 pounds of marijuana in double vacuum sealed packages, as well as a money counting machine.
Not something you want to have happen.
At Zachary Woods, neighbor Knight says it's the first time he can remember seeing police do anything other than patrolling.
And there's kids walking around all the time, up and down the bicycles. I mean, this is mainly a family-friendly neighborhood.
Spokesperson for Cobb's MCS drug unit says they do not comment on their active cases. Presumably, agents in California are trying to figure out where that marijuana came from. Agents here trying to figure out where it was destined. In the meantime, Ross is in jail, held without bond. We are live in Marietta. Ross Cavett, Channel 2 Action News.
Happening now, it is the final day of campaigning ahead of the 6th Congressional District runoff election. Voters must decide between Democrat Jon Ossoff and Republican Karen Handel. It is the most expensive congressional race in U.S. history. The countdown is on for voters to cast their ballots tomorrow. This map shows the 6th Congressional District in Cobb, DeKalb, and Fulton counties. Channel 2's Liz Arts talked to neighbors in DeKalb who say the lines for the district are confusing.
As soon as you come into the neighborhood, the first thing you see are campaign signs. But residents here tell us don't assume that just because your neighbors are voting Tuesday that the folks just right across the street are in the same district.
It's just very bizarre that a small little neighborhood like this is drawn right down the middle.
If you zoom in on a map of the 6th Congressional District, you can see exactly what Cindy Dobbins is talking about.
So many people are confused. Which district are we in?
That's because in some cases, one side of the street is in the 6th District and the other side of the road is in another district altogether.
It's little squiggly lines. It's almost like it goes up and takes one little section and then leaves all the rest out.
Dobbins thinks the entire district is bizarre. If you zoom out, it covers eastern Cobb all the way to Alpharetta.
The whole 6th district is illogical. It just seems like the districts would be drawn along commercial lines.
It's just really crazy.
Poll worker Pam McKee alerted residents in her neighborhood to check before going to vote. She told me during the general election, 1 in 4 voters were turned away because they live in a different district.
People were very angry, and they were angry because they said they had been bombarded with phone calls and mail, and they weren't even in that district.
The 6th congressional race is the highly anticipated runoff between Republican Karen Handel and Democrat Jon Ossoff. The showdown is the most expensive House race in history, with polls showing the clash between Ossoff and Handel too close to call.
I think it is a very important election. I think it's going to send a message in many ways.
Voters just need to be aware of their district. McKee recommends going to My Voter page, filling out the login, and that will tell you what district you live in. In DeKalb County, Liz Arts, Channel 2 Action News.
Stay with Channel 2 Action News for complete coverage election night. We'll have analysis from our panel of experts starting tomorrow night at 9:30 on WSBTV.com. Election returns throughout the night and live Team 2 coverage on the Channel 2 Action News Night Beat at 11.
Big night. We are learning new details this afternoon about the man who drove a van through a crowd of Muslim worshipers. He's a father of 4 from Wales. Channel 2's Carol Sparge is live at the Satellite News Center. And Carol, police are treating this incident as yet another terror attack.
Craig, British media identified that suspect today as 47-year-old Darren Osborne. One person died at the scene.
Another night of terror in London. A white van plowed through a crowd of Muslim worshippers outside a mosque in the northern part of the city.
No one touched him, no one.
When he was on the ground, I asked him, why did you do that? Why? Innocent people. He goes, I want to kill Muslims.
Members of the Muslim community pinned down the 47-year-old suspect until police arrived.
By God's grace, we managed to surround him and to protect him from any harm.
Today, a flood of condemnations and condolences from officials.
There is no place for this hatred in our country today, and we need to work together as one society, as one community, to drive it out, this evil.
This was quite clearly an attack on Muslims, and they were coming from a prayer meeting. We treat this as a terrorist attack.
There's growing anxiety on the streets of London.
ISIS doesn't have a monopoly on driving trucks and vans into people, into crowds. Now we know that there are other terrorists who have done exactly the same thing.
We will stay a strong city. We will ensure that we aren't cowed by terrorism, and we will not be defeated.
The suspect is facing murder and attempted murder charges. Nearly a dozen people are injured. Live in the Satellite News Center, Carol Sparge, Channel 2 Action News.
And we have more details on the other attacks in England just over the last few months. Several people died in an attack on the Westminster Bridge and outside Parliament in March. An explosion at the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester killed 22 people last month in May. And this month, 3 men rammed a van into people on London Bridge, then went on a stabbing spree. 8 people died.
And it's dry across metro Atlanta for now, but also tracking a broken line of showers and storms in the North Georgia mountains. Coming up, timing when this moves into the metro. Plus, looking ahead at tropical moisture and how it will affect our weather in the coming days.
Windows shattered and broken out. New at 4, vandals targeted vans used to help feed low-income children.
We're going to take a stance. We've been in this community 2 to 3 years.
He's telling us why he believes someone does not want him to help children in the community.
This man says he stood his ground when he shot and killed a former police officer at a local bar. We're live where the NAACP says the case would be different if the victim was not white. Next, live.
Closed caption. In the last few minutes, our first little downpour of the afternoon popping up in the heart of the metro as we head out just to the west of Cobb County. No lightning with this, but a little downpour now developing in Paulding County. Most of the rain, most of the storms, and kind of lining up now a broken line of showers and storms from Floyd County, Rome, up toward Gordon County in Calhoun. Coming up, going to time when this moves into the metro and look ahead at a wet work week over the next few days.
All right, Brian, thank you. A group of civil rights activists are asking the public to pack the courtroom for the murder trial of the man accused of killing a former police officer. Channel 2's Tom Jones is live in Clayton County, where a judge denied the man's stand-your-ground motion. Tom?
And Craig, civil rights groups like the Clayton County NAACP say it is clear that Jesse Murray was standing his ground when he shot that former officer here at the Benenfield Sports Bar. So when Murray's trial starts on Monday, they want as many eyes and ears in court to make sure he gets justice.
We believe that an injustice has taken place.
These civil rights groups say Jesse Murray didn't get justice when a judge ruled he wasn't standing his ground when he shot former police officer Nathan Adams in 2014.
I was scared. I was definitely, at that moment, I was in fear. I was scared.
Murray testified during a Stand Your Ground hearing last year that he was in fear of his life when Adams and his friends attacked him outside the Benefield Sports Bar on Old Dixie Highway. He said as the men had him in a chokehold, the gun he had just retrieved from his car went off, killing Adams. Murray was charged with murder.
Although he was spit on, he was punched, he was kicked, he was choked, and also shot at. He was the only person that was charged.
Judge Albert Collier ruled Murray wasn't in fear of his life and said the court couldn't reconcile Murray saying a deadly force was justified, but also saying it was unintentional. Attorney Gerald Griggs disagrees.
Accidental or not, it's immunity because you are defending oneself.
These activists are asking the public to show up every day in court to make sure Murray gets a fair trial.
We need to show up, be in that courtroom, and make a statement.
And jury selection is set for Monday. The civil rights groups believe that race plays a role in who gets immunity from prosecution, who can use the Stand Your Ground law. I'll be working on that part of the story for Channel 2 Action News at 5. We're live in Clayton County. Tom Jones, Channel 2 Action News.
New developments. A former Griffin High School teacher will learn if she has to go back to jail tomorrow. Prosecutors filed a motion to revoke bond for Brandy Nichols. They say she violated the terms of her bond after police found her in a car with one of the witnesses in a pending case against her. In May, police arrested Nichols after they say she was having inappropriate relations with students.
One man is dead and another is in the Cobb County Jail, and police say it was all over a woman. Police arrested Raheen Stingley. Stingley told them he got into an argument with Antrell Hicks Davis Saturday morning and shot him. Officers say this happened in the parking lot of the Motel 6 right here on Delk Road. Stingley told officers the two were fighting over a woman.
In the last 90 minutes, Hall County authorities told us they ruled a house fire accidental. The family is thanking the officer who helped save them. Channel 2 Sophia Choi went to Oakwood and spoke with the family who barely survived after losing another family member in April.
From the outside, you really can't tell the tragedy that happened inside this home early Monday morning. But the damage inside is so bad, fire investigators say the family can't stay here. They have to find a new place to stay.
Oh, there's my baby.
Tears of joy as 74-year-old Brenda Masters is reunited with her two little dogs, Bam Bam and Coco.
Oh, God. My boy. And these two babies here, they're my whole life. That's all I've got laying.
Fire investigators are looking for the cause of the fire that broke out around 6 Monday morning at this home on Shawnee Drive. Masters says she awoke to smoke and screaming from her 58-year-old son, Larry McDonald, who suffers from Parkinson's and uses a wheelchair.
He had got off into the floor, but his chair was on fire. He said he lit a cigarette and he dropped it. He can't use his hands good.
McDonald is okay after a few stitches in his head, thanks to an Oakwood police officer who pulled him out of this house.
He did. He drugged me about the way that he did, though. I appreciate it.
The officer helped after Ms. Masters first pulled her son away from the flames and into a hallway. She was determined to save him after losing her other son in April to a heart attack. She burned her hand trying to get him out.
I couldn't put it out with my hand. And so I drug him. I just got him and drug him any which way I could.
The woman who also uses a wheelchair says it was a miracle they all survived, including her two dogs.
God had to help me. He had to help me. That's all I know. God had to help me.
The Red Cross is here helping the family find a new place to stay. In Hall County, Sophia Choi, Channel 2 Action News.
We're working to find out when two inmates accused of murdering two Georgia corrections officers will return here to Georgia. Authorities arrested Ricky DeBose and Donnie Rowe last week in Tennessee following a 60-hour manhunt. During that time, police say the pair stole several vehicles, robbed homes, and led authorities on a high-speed chase. During a hearing Friday, both men waived their rights to an extradition hearing. In less than an hour, friends and family will gather to remember Sergeant Chris Monica. He's one of the 2 murdered corrections officers. A visitation is scheduled at Williams Funeral Home on North Jefferson Street in Milledgeville. It runs from 5 to 7. Sergeant Monica's funeral is tomorrow. And hundreds were on hand for Sergeant Curtis Ballou's funeral in Wilkinson County. Friends, family, and law enforcement said prayers as they surrounded his flag-draped casket Saturday. Ballou is survived by his wife, 2 daughters, and 2 grandchildren.
All new at 4, a meth super lab found operating in the area, and it could be the biggest in state history.
Shooting every day. It was very loud.
The other concern with the lab inside a home where children lived.
And look at this muddy mess after food trucks and vendors damaged this softball field during a festival. The frustration from people who use this field and the big repair bill.
And developing right now, questions are swirling over whether President Donald Trump is under investigation in connection with the Russia probe. The confusion after his team went on record to defend him.
Weather.
Developing this afternoon, there are new questions about whether or not President Donald Trump is under investigation in the Russia probe. Channel 2's Dave Huddleston is live in the Satellite News Center. Dave, the president welcomed the president of Panama to the White House today.
He sure did, Wendy. The 2 world leaders are talking about organized crime, immigration, and economic issues, but the focus in Washington is the Russia investigation.
Mr. President, are you under investigation by the special counsel?
President Trump and the White House are trying to shift the focus after his tweet seeming to suggest he is under investigation after firing FBI Director James Comey. His legal team tried to correct the record Sunday, only leading to more confusion.
Now he's being investigated by the Department of Justice. So he's being investigated for taking the action that the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General recommended him to take by the agency who recommended the termination.
You've now said that he is being investigated after saying that you didn't.
No.
You just said,
no, he's
sir,
not being investigated. So I do not appreciate you putting words in my mouth when I've been crystal clear.
ABC News has learned the special counsel in the Russia probe, Robert Mueller, has not launched a full-scale obstruction of justice investigation into the president. But sources say Mueller is conducting a preliminary inquiry, assessing Comey's congressional testimony, reviewing Comey's memos on encounters with the president, and preparing to interview certain administration officials. Lawmakers on both sides are urging President Trump to let the special counsel do his job.
I think we ought to let Bob Mueller develop some of the evidence and determine what he needs to investigate.
The House Intelligence Committee is demanding to know if the White House has any tapes of the president's conversations with Comey. The deadline is Friday. Live in the Satellite News Center, Dave Huddleston, Channel 2 Action News.
Shipping your shopping items during the holiday could start costing you more. UPS says it will add 97 cents for second-day air residential service. They will add an 81-cent surcharge for next-day air. Larger, heavier, or unusually shaped packages will also face surcharges. Those extra charges impact packages shipped between December 17th and the 23rd. At 4 o'clock, vandals toss rocks through the windows of these vans used to help feed low-income children.
If I can't park my vehicles where I pay rent, then I might as well go back to Alpharetta where I live.
Program leader is telling us why he believes he is a target.
And this family is desperate for answers after someone shot and killed a man inside a home. The mysterious phone call and the woman they believe is key in solving this murder.
And we're tracking a broken line of downpours right now. North Georgia mountains back down toward Rome. This is moving toward Metro Atlanta. Got the hour-by-hour timeline next.